Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Nosh's Quest to Gold. Now today is going to be a Protoss versus Zerg map on Metalopolis, and I'm spawning on the right hand side. I'm Nosh, the blue Protoss player, and on the left hand side I know what you're thinking. Nosh, you've gone and picked the name of someone you can't say because it's all in Russian, but no, I have the power of the internet, and apparently it's boshetunmay? Which, using even again the power of the internet, is a song by a band which is Kino, which is a very popular Russian band. So there you go. Me and a guy who I'm just going to call Bosch this game, because to be honest I'm probably butchering it enough by trying to pronounce it. And it's a very good CVP we're going to be looking at today. Now, starting off here, my opponent is just gathering all his minerals just the way you would expect. I'm doing just the same because it's far too early for me to actually commentate on what's going on. I'm going to be starting my wall off as per usual. Too many rushes happening in lower leagues, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Now, this is another one of the games I played earlier today, that is still being Monday, and I enjoyed it a lot to the point I saved the replay with a name, as in, like, you know, watch this later, you should probably record it. The reason I didn't record it straight after the first one that I'm uploading as we speak is because he had a funny name, and I put it in the back of my head to try and work out what his name was and what it meant and everything else. So anyway, me and my friend Bosch here are going to duke it out. It's going to be spectacular. He's scouted this way with his overlord and realised I'm not here, so he knows where I am. I'm scouting in his base with my probe. I now obviously know where he is, and I just spot this, I think, yeah. I just spot, why am I, it's his vision, of course he spots that. I just spotted his spawning pool going down anyway, so I realised that, no, you know, it's I don't know how late that would be actually for one base play. I should really look into the timings for Zerg to see when you're supposed to drop your spawning pool if you're going for any one base play, but either way, there is a drone down here engaging me, and I'm just dotting around. I'm going to actually block this hatch, but now I do have two drones versus one probe, so I'm going to try and get a pylon down, and then sneak out of there. I do get killed, I do get nibbled to death, and I'm going to leave my pylon building just to delay the expand a little bit longer. Now naturally, I know what you're thinking, Nosh, it's Protoss versus Zerg, so of course there's one thing I have to do every PvZ that I play, and you won't be surprised when you see the build I'm going to go if you've watched any of my games before. Now, Cybercore's coming through. It did start just a tiny bit late because of all of the quote-unquote epic micro. I did actually cancel that pylon, I don't know if you noticed. But if I go to the Units Lost tab, which again, I don't remember what it is, Units Lost, I have lost some resources, 150 resource for the probe and 25 for the cancel. So there you go. The hatch is now down, and my opponent, he's actually not getting any lings out with his larva at the moment. He's still droning up. I don't think he's expecting any aggression to be coming, especially not this early in the game. He is sneaking an overlord around. He's going to what appears to be the long way around. It's going to sneak along the top of the minimap and then maybe come into my base a little bit later on. I myself am moving this probe up, and as we have a quick look, we'll see that he's going to grab some minerals here, because stealing is fun, and then plonk himself hiding down beside this nice little bit of shrubbery. Now back at home, you may have just noticed not one, not two, but 3 gateways are currently in production in my base, counting this one here. That makes a nice grand total of 4 gates. And Chrono, of course, coming on my warp gate research to get that out nice and quickly. So as you can see, we're going for a 4 gate. Your classic everyday, I don't like Zerg expanding, so we're going to 4 gate them. At the same time, back over here, my opponent, Bosch, he's got his Roche Warren started, which is, you know, it's probably quite good. He's also transferring over some drones to his natural, you know, get it nice and saturated. It's good to see. He also has his queen up. He must have walked that down from up here. He's got his queen up, and he's getting his injects on nicely timed as well, so he's focusing quite hard on his economy at the moment. But you do see now in production spine crawler in his mineral line. I don't exactly know why one would place a spine crawler here. I don't know what he's expecting to come and harass him here. I mean, perhaps if I was Terran and maybe dropping, but never mind. Spine crawler's all about the mineral line for now, and at least they'll be able to poke away any zealots, I suppose, that come running into the mineral line as well, if anything like that was to happen. Now back over here, you can see that my warp gate is almost done. I'm also still using my gateways to pump out a couple of units. I'm actually getting another couple of stalkers and a zealot. He's nearly set sentry. Shh, it's okay. And now with this little force and with warp gate done, you'll see that I'm starting to move out. I would like to see me make these into warp gates. Come on, Nosh. Come on, tickle, tickle, tickle. There you go. There's a good Nosh. And I'm also going to make sure the little zealot here, he comes back and wiggles his ponytail and blocks the hole in the wall, just in case we get any run-bys or any zealots or anything coming through. Now looking back over here, you can see that the hatchery is now morphing into a lair. Looking to, continue along the tech route. We also have Zergling speed coming out of the spawning pool, and it does look like the queen's kind of sandwiched in this little gap here. Another couple of extractors coming out. So we're looking for something quite techy, I imagine probably Mutalisks. That does seem to be a Zerg's kind of pattern, especially this kind of level of play. Now, unfortunately, I have quite a lot of units. A quick glance at the army supply will see that my unit count is heavily that in favour. And now this push coming on in, Bosch is going to see that and isn't really going to be able to do much. I've moved around to up here, where you can see there aren't any spine crawlers. I've managed to chase his drones up the ramp. And we're going to just sit just back here out of the range of the spine, which just has ridiculous range. I'm going to sit out of the range of the spine and make sure that, I can kill off his hatch without any more damage or anything coming onto my units. Now, the response on gang, we have 6 roaches coming out and we have 4 spine crawlers being made up in the base at the moment. Also, the glial reconstruction being researched, that's roach speed as well. A nice little bit of creep spread and everything else. Now, I have warped in, or I'm about to warp in a bunch more units. I do have a bunch more zealots here, and I'm going to have a little poke up the ramp to see what I can see. But at the moment, what I'm going to see is going to look like a crap ton of roaches and a bunch of spines as well. So, let's just watch Nosh run up the ramp. Run up. Okay, we're going to get another warp in a zealot. See, I did tell you it was coming. It's almost like I played this game myself. So we're going to run up the ramp. We're going to see, whoa, spines, whoa, roaches, roaches and spines. Lots of roaches, lots of spines. You know what? Save it for another day. And you might have also noticed I have gone and planted my own expansion back at home. I've got my simulator down, a couple of pylons so that I can warp in on the low ground, and also for the positioning of buildings here, here, here. Make a bit of a wall for any Zerglings or any other units coming by. So we're going to pull back. We've decided that we don't want to do any more damage today, and Bosch has gone and planted his spine crawlers nicely on his ramp there, funneling my units up in this direction if I was to push, and also to, get a few pokes and anything that comes across the lower ground. He's also making good use of this larva, and when I say good use, I mean that 7 overlords is not good use of this larva. Fair enough, you are supply blocked, sir, but, I mean, there's kill, and then there's overkill, and then there's making 7 overlords to get rid of 1 supply block. Almost doubling his supply there. Good job. Back down home, just when I've gone and made fun of my opponent having a ridiculously high supply, when I'm on 59 of 92, I'm going to plant down another couple of pylons. The reason I'm actually planting these, I don't know why I'm leaving this massive gap open, but I'll probably notice later. The reason why I'm planting these, although, is to power these buildings more. They're only being powered currently by 1 pylon, and I wouldn't want to lose 2 gateways if I get 1 pylon killed. Back at home, I also have a forge. I don't know why it's up here rather than maybe in this gap here, this gap here, this gap here. I don't know why it's up here, but I am researching my +1. I also have another 4 gates coming on through. That will eventually, give me a total of 8 gates. An 8 gate with a +1, maybe a +1/+1, is what we'll be looking at for myself. We're also putting this pylon down here to block the eventual run of this direction. I would like to maybe also see a pylon here. Couple of pylons here or there, just to make sure that it is completely walled off. Also, I don't know, maybe this is the forever lone gateway, but it doesn't get to be a warp gate, I've decided. And there's me eventually with more pylons, because making fun of other people's supply blocks and then being a complete tool supply yourself is the only way to go. Looking back at my opponent's base, you can see I called it with the number of extractors and the amount of gas he's going for. There is a spire coming on through. He's also researching burrow, and he's got his hatchery coming back down at his second. He's also making quite a good job of creep spread, probably one of the better creep spreads I've seen since I started playing, in the lower leagues of course. And he's also got now all these defensive spine crawlers have walked down the ramp and are now making a bit of a better defend and a nicer position. Spire's just about finished. He's also dropped an evolution chamber to get some of his upgrades out. He will be a little bit behind me even if he starts just now. I'm almost finished my +1, but an infestation pit, excuse me, an infestation pit, maybe going to look for the hive tech, maybe, I don't know, he just likes infestors, who knows, we'll have to wait and see. Back at home, not a lot is actually going on for me. I have decided that I'd rather have this as a gateway a warp gate, after all. I am going to start pushing out. I do have 1 zealot on this tower. I'm going to put the other one on here, so I'm going to have a nice bit of vision across the middle of the map. You'll also see that this 3rd base is going on here. I don't actually have vision of this just yet, though. So, I mean, my Zerg opponent, does he know I'm on 2 bases? Kind of. I don't know. He must have poked in with an overlord or something at some point. Actually, there was. I remember there was an overlord up here and I killed it with some stalkers. So he does know I'm on 2 bases, so his natural response is going to be to take a third. I'm planting even more pylons because supply is your friend, just to make sure that if any, I don't know, Mutalisks are coming rushing over from this direction, or any Baneling drops are coming out of any overlords, I'll be able to see those. At the same time, I have a Robo and a Twilight Council starting the low ground. Robo for maybe observers, Twilight Council to get +2 upgrades. I've started my +1 armor as well. Back over here we do see that Bosch has decided that he needs Spore Crawlers as well as Spine Crawlers. Again, in his main I'm not sure whether he's expecting DT drops or whether he's maybe going to shoot out observers, but he's got some detection in his main. He's also getting his roaches, and here come the upgrades. Flyer attacks level 1 almost finished for the Mutalisks, which we don't have yet, and missile attacks level 1 for the roaches, which are making up the bulk of his ground force at the moment. I just almost just missed the warp in here. I actually moved my probe onto the high ground, spotted the expansion and just ran my zealots up to it. I also have vision of this gold that's just been planted down because I do have both of the watchtowers. A good amount of creeps being spread up in this direction as well, so it does kind of indicate that the Zerg's going to, move in this direction. So as you can see, I'm pulling down with these zealots and the majority of my force to make sure that I can secure this base here before anything terrible happens. Fair enough, that's that. This poor little larva is going to end up dead because he won't have any creep to hide on. So there we go, that's me killed another 2 bases, making a total of 3 bases killed this game. Looking back at my opponent's army, it's nothing compared to my own, I have to say. Just a bunch of roaches, and as you can see here as well, a bunch of Mutalisks making their way across the map. Bosch is now moving into his Greater Spire. I don't know whether, this is a good time to transition into Broodlords, what with only having 2 bases and all, but we'll see how that works out. As well as I remember, I'm getting a little bit mined out across this base up here, so I think in my head at least I'm thinking about getting a third. I've also got an overlord, I also have an observer coming on through. Now Bosch is dropping his third again, this time trying the gold again, even though I don't know whether he knows you can see it from these towers, or whether he, he's just hoping for the best. He does have a couple of spines as well, but against this kind of army, I don't really think he's going to be able to do too much. Now, as you can see, the Mutalisks are moving on in. They have a little bit of vision. They don't see these glow-in-the-dark blue objects because they haven't came yet. He's going to run right into my army, lose one of his Mutalisks, almost lose the second, and then pull on back over in this direction. Now he's going to be lucky enough to see that I have a third down. That I've got a couple of pylons as well, so I'm going to have to go ahead and cancel the pylon, cancel the base, cancel the other pylon. I'm managing to save my minerals and not letting anything go to waste. I've also got my ground level 2 coming on through at my forge. I think I only went for the 1 forge this game. I usually like double forge it up, and I'm not making. I'd like to see myself maybe making blink or charge or anything. The fact I'm floating like 1400 minerals. But anyway, pushing on up, I've decided that this is a nice time to take out this third again, let him get a couple of spine crawlers up, and then just run up to his third anyway, and force the cancel. At the moment, my ground army is looking quite meaty, shall we say. Flyer attacks level 2 coming out from Bosch. It's kind of implying he wants a lot more Mutalisks to go with all these roaches. He doesn't seem to be floating a lot of money, but he does seem to be floating a lot of gas. So, I don't know, I would like to see something happen. We also have a whole bunch of burrowed drones here for that deadly drone attack that you all know and love so much. Burrowed drones. And I'm also hiding just off the creep here, that's nice. Nice to see. Also, missile attacks level 2, that'll be nice. Back at home, I think I'm going to try and push down again. I'm actually sending units out to make sure there's no sneaky hidden expansions, because there's been not a lot of pressure, not a lot of aggression coming from my Zerg opponent, so I'm thinking, maybe he's maxing up an army. I do have my observer in his base, and I do see the Greater Spire coming on through as well, so a little bit worried about that. Tunneling Claws coming through for the roaches eventually, even though we do have burrow. I see a bunch of roaches. Look at the speed of roaches and creep, that's just ridiculous. Anyway, I do see the roaches coming on through, so I decide, we're going to push down on my army, and I actually like the way I move this. Pull down here, and then push it forward with my attack. Okay, fair enough, not that many of my guys are in my Guardian Shield, but the concave I've got, this nice long line of stalkers, pushing forward is going to be a little bit better than the sort of not quite as long line of roaches. A whole bunch of speedlings coming out in a bit of desperation while the zealots are kind of mopping up what's going on there. Huge roach pushes coming across. Stalker pushes coming across. I have just dropped a third. and bringing all your drones off of the line when you've got absolutely nothing left in terms of army doesn't seem like the most logical move in the world. I don't know what I was thinking of running up the ramp there either. But, I don't know, win the game, up the ramp. We're gonna just stand here and get poked to death by a couple of spine crawlers. I've actually lost the good majority of my army, if you have a quick look there, there's only, what, that's 9 stalkers left? I don't actually have any forward pylons or anything to warp in as well, but I have managed to secure a third base down here, and I also have this little force over here that was going out to scout bases. But there we go. Sorry to click away from all the action just as I go and win the game, but if you have a look at the resources, you'll see what happened. No mining at all able for Bosch at the moment. He can't get down to this base because obviously that's where I am. He doesn't have any minerals to make more drones, and he can't make any more units, so a good game and a well played would be nice, but I mean, I know GG, no skill when I have a bad game, so not one for my opponent. I hope you enjoy the game, and I'll catch you guys later on. Bye!